celebs, and welcome back to our channel. So I'm going to first go on and moisturize my skin. I'm going to be using the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Water Gel. I'm still using this as my primer as opposed to my Lubriderm Advanced Therapy Lotion. I'm still not sure how I like it, but I will let you guys know and keep you up to date. I'm just going to apply this mostly on my T-zone and apply a thin layer on the rest of my face. And when I finish, I'm going to move on to a primer, and I'm going to be using the Too Faced Primed and Poreless Primer as opposed to my Dr. Brandt. I still like my Dr. Brandt more, but I'm just using this to just change it up. Now for foundation, I'm going to be mixing two. I'm using the Too Faced Born This Way and the L'Oreal Infallible. Actually, no, I think it's the L'Oreal True Match. I'm going to leave all like the names and everything like that down below in the description box. But for foundation, I'm actually not using my Real Technique sponge. I'm going to blend in my foundation using the Sigma F80 flat kabuki brush. And as opposed to using circular motions, I'm tapping in the product into my face. I find this just gives me such an airbrushed finish, and I'm really liking it. Even though it does take longer, it really does make a difference when I'm finished applying my foundation. Now moving on to eyes, I'm going to first prime it using the Too Faced Shadow Insurance primer, and I'm just going to dot a little tiny dot on my lids and then blend it in using my finger. Now when I finish blending it in, I just want to make sure that I set that primer. So I'm going to go in using my Morphe 35O palette, and I'm actually going to use like a shadow that's actually very similar to my skin tone as opposed to using like a white shadow. It would just cast like a white shadow when I take pictures. So again, I'm just going to set my brow bone to crease area using a MAC 239 brush. Then picking up a very light brown shadow as my transition shade, and I'm using a Sigma E40 brush to just have like a light wash of color in my crease. Again, this is just a transition shade. Now to build up that color, I'm going to go back into the Morphe 35O palette and pick up an even darker shadow. This is like 2 shades darker than the first shadow we picked up, and I'm still using that same E40 brush. I did notice that as opposed to the first shadow that we placed on, it's much more powdery and it has a hell of a lot more fallout than the second transition shade that we use. Then I'm going to be changing brushes, and I'm going to be using the Zoeva 228 Luxe Crease brush, and I'm going to pick up a even darker brown like you're seeing right now, and I'm placing this color directly into the crease and just buffing that in there. I do go back in with my E40 Sigma blending brush to just make sure I'm blending out all of the edges. Like I said, I'm just going to pick up the E40 Sigma blending brush and pick up that. It's like a yellowy, orangey shadow, and just make sure those edges are blended. Now I'm actually changing brushes again, and I'm using a more detailed brush. It's a 227 Soft Definer brush from Zoeva, taking up the very darkest brown shade in the Morphe palette and placing most of the product on the outer V of my crease, and then using light pressure blending it into the rest of my crease area. Now finally, I'm going to go in again with the Sigma E40 brush and with the orange shadow blend out those edges and make sure you have no harsh lines. Then going in with a smoky shadow brush from Zoeva. This is a 234, and with this like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a bronzy reddish shadow shimmer shade, and I'm just going to pack this all over my lid, and then once again going in with my E40 brush and blending out those edges. This shadow that I placed on my lid is incredibly pigmented, and I was honestly quite surprised. And now to highlight my inner tear duct, I'm picking up a pencil brush with a light shimmer pinky shadow and placing that in my inner tear duct as well as my brow bone. Then I'm going to go in and start doing my winged liner, and for that I'm going to be using my Kat Von D tattoo liner. I feel like I've done this a million times, so I'm just going to speed it up. I do extend my inner tear duct just a little bit with the same liner. Then for lashes, these are actually lashes I got from AliExpress. They look exactly and feel exactly like the Demi Wispies. So I applied those lashes off camera. Now with those on, I'm going to move on to the rest of my face. Going on with concealer, this is the LA Girl Pro Concealer in the color Pure Beige. I'm just applying it to the normal areas, so under my eye, forehead, bridge of my nose, and a little bit on my chin. And I'm going to be using the same technique I use to apply my foundation, or I should say blend my foundation, with the Sigma the Sigma F80 Kabuki brush, and just tap in the product into my face. To set everywhere we put concealer, I'm going in with my Wet n Wild contouring palette in the darkest shade, and I'm going to pick up the banana shade and just set everywhere we put concealer. And then moving on to contour, I'm going to use, I don't remember the name of this brush, but it's a MAC something brush. It's a MAC brush. I'll list it down below. And I'm just going to contour my face using the contour shadow in the Wet n Wild palette. I'm going to clean up my contour line with my Zoeva 109 face paint brush, and just going to clean up and bake under my contour. Then I'm going to move on to blush, and I'm using one from La Bella Donna in the color Andrea. And this blush is incredibly pigmented, so just be careful when you are using it. And I'm using a Zoeva 127 brush for this, and I'm applying most of the product on the apples of my cheek and then blending it up. Now for highlight, of course, I'm going to be using the Becca and Jaclyn Hill Champagne Pop, and I'm using a fan brush to just apply the highlighter where I want, and then with the concealer buffing brush from Zoeva 142, and applying it on the highest points of my cheeks, nose, and my cupid's bow. Then I'm going to move back on to my eyes, and I'm going to be using my Zoeva 227 brush and picking up the lightest brown that we use, and then I'm going to go in with the second darkest brown shadow that we use for our crease, as you're seeing right here. I'm just going to run that all over my lower lash line. And then when I'm done with that, I'm just going to go in with the darkest brown shadow that we use, which you're going to see in a minute right here. And then I'm just going to place this shadow on the outer V, well, not outer V, of the outer half of my lower lash line, I should say. I'm going to quickly use a dual fiber brush and just blend off all of that bakage we had under my contour, and then just quickly put on some mascara. This is the L'Oreal Teloscopic. I love this mascara. I bought it strictly because Carly Bible did recommend it. And then for lips, the very last step, this is a lip gloss from Anastasia in the color Kristen. I absolutely love this look. I was actually surprised. But this is going to be the end of the look. I hope you guys like it. If you do, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Comment down below anything you guys want. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. The link is in the description box. And subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.